Welcome back, everybody, to Laying the Points with Luca Rosano. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, coming to you live from the Parlay Studios. We got a jam-packed edition of the show to get to, so we're going to dive right into it. We're actually going to start by recapping how I did with my picks on Friday. I went a perfect 3-0. I couldn't come in on Saturday to brag about it, but you better believe I was waiting all weekend to come in and say that I went perfect on Friday. The Sixers covered +2. They won that game, and the Mavs covered +1. They won that game as well, and the Leafs covered +1.5 to give me a perfect 3-0 record. Now, a lot of different results happened between Friday and last night, so we are going to start with those Toronto Maple Leafs who had a 2-1 series lead going into Sunday and who had a lot of momentum on their side, as Leafs fans were very optimistic that the Maple Leafs would possibly be able to take a 3-1 series stranglehold lead over the two-time defending Cup champs. But I think the Leafs forgot that this game started at 7 o'clock and not 7:30, because the Leafs came out absolutely horrendous, giving up 3 quick goals, and as James Myrtle put it, just a brutal game all around for the Maple Leafs. They actually lost this game 7-3. Yes, the Maple Leafs giving up a touchdown scoreline to the Lightning, and this was a game that was not close throughout. You got the feel that whoever was going to score first in this one was going to be the winner, as that has been the theme all series long. But it's unfortunate because the Leafs didn't even put up a fight. They showed a little bit of life in a fake comeback in that third period before the Lightning really put this game out of reach, scoring a couple more, giving them that 7-3 win. As Chris Johnston says, Jack Campbell actually said that he wanted to stay in the game, but respects Sheldon Keefe's decision to replace him. Obviously, Campbell was pulled after giving up a couple of goals. You look at some other things that have not gone right for the Maple Leafs. John Tavares, the captain, people waiting for him to show up. He did have his best game of the series last night, but he still has not done nearly as much as what Leafs fans had hoped. As you look at this meme right here, John Tavares, as soon as the regular season ended, he was basically ready to end scene. As you look at this matchup between the Lightning and the Leafs, it's quickly becoming a lopsided series, as one team has had a 3-goal lead in every game on this Leafs-Lightning series. So it has been competitive in terms of how we're 2-2, but every game has taken the same theme. The first team that scores usually has the momentum. They get out to a 3-goal lead, and it's like the first team that etches 5 goals is going to win the game. As you look at the Lightning, they responded after a loss yet again. As Greg Brady put it, the Lightning are now 16-0 in playoff games after losses since 2020. It's one of the most impressive playoff stats ever. The Islanders have a 19 straight series win streak, which is the best, but the Lightning, they are going to potentially give that record a run for its money. I mean, this team, when they face any bit of adversity, they are focused, they come at you, and you could tell within the first minute when Stamkos opened up the scoring, this was going to be a game that was going to be all Lightning throughout. As Brian Hayes of TSN put it like this going forward, down to a best 2 out of 3, and at some point, we're going to see a tied game in the third period. The Leafs have been talking about this moment and preparing for it all season. Healthy and home ice need to close now. And then the last thing I want to show you is a post from Barstool Sports. Justin Bieber, for Mother's Day, by the way, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, posted this picture, him and his mom when Bieber was much younger, touching the Stanley Cup. And Bieber did say, happy Mother's Day, Mom. We're going to bring back Lord Stanley Cup to Toronto this year, and it will be beautiful. And of course, Bieber did this before the game, and in typical Bieber curse fashion, the Leafs looked awful as they lost this game. So, all of a sudden, you have this crazy back and forth lopsided series. The theme has been one team wins, then the other team wins. So if that theme continues, the Maple Leafs should win Game 5, right? Well, I'll say this. The Maple Leafs need to win Game 5, because if they go down 3-2 against this Lightning team, we know of that very big stat that they're riding on. The Lightning don't lose 2 games in a row. So if the Leafs lose game 5, that means they got to beat the Lightning 2 straight times to win that series. That ain't happening. The Maple Leafs need to get out to a 3-2 series lead. They need to come out with better focus. They need to come out with better energy. And their top guys have to perform. Game 5 is the biggest game of the series, the biggest game of the season for the Maple Leafs. All the pressure is going to be on them, especially following this embarrassing loss. So all eyes are going to be on this Leafs team at home. Their home crowd watching. Maple Leaf Square packed. Which Maple Leafs team are we going to get? Are we going to see the team that started off the series strong? Or are we going to see the team that fell apart in Game 4 and looked like a team that did not belong? And how is Jack Campbell going to look? This is what I'm most interested in. This is a goalie that has been streaky all season long. And we know that sometimes when he does face adversity, sometimes when he does face stretches of poor play, it lingers. And this would be the absolute worst time to have one of those classic Jack Campbell letdowns where he does let you down for consecutive games. Because they need him to be at his best. And this right now seems to me like a goalie who is vulnerable. And the Leafs right now seem vulnerable, as I would give the edge to the Lightning at this point of the series. I thought the Leafs blew a perfectly good opportunity to go up 3-1, giving them a little bit of a cushion, going back to Toronto. And it's not that they just lost the game. I think a lot of people were expecting the Lightning to even up the series. It's the way they lost. That was the worst performance that any team had in this series. That was a worse performance, in my opinion, than how the Lightning looked in the opener of Game 1. So all the pressure's on the Leafs. I give the edge to the Lightning. These guys are champs for a reason. They know how to respond. They know how to be resilient. And as for the Maple Leafs, I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they have it in them to come up with that big-time performance against a big-time team when their backs are up against the wall. So we will see how Game 5 goes down on Tuesday, but it's a must-win. If the Maple Leafs lose Game 5, that series to me is over. They're not beating the Lightning 2 straight times, especially with the way the Lightning have responded coming off of losses. So, moving on now, we had some other teams respond in the face of adversity. The first team, the Dallas Mavericks, and I owe them an apology. I was here on the show on Friday, and I said the Sixers have a better chance than the Mavs at coming back. And we're going to get to the Sixers in just a minute. But I did rule out the Mavs coming back to win this series, and they could still very well lose this series. But right now, they got to be feeling good about themselves. A completely different Mavs team in games 3 and 4, as they have tied the series at 2, going back to the desert. Finney Smith had an amazing Game 4 performance. He had a career-high 24 points on a career-high 8 3-pointers made. The role players for the Mavericks, some role players that I called out on Friday, they must have watched the show. They must have listened to me because they all came to play. And you already knew Luca was going to do Luca things. He had another amazing stat line in Game 4. 26 points, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 4 steals. As the Dallas Mavericks now have all the momentum in their corner. And to me, I said the Phoenix Suns weren't going to lose against any other team but maybe the Warriors. But now this team looks like they're vulnerable. And why? Well, Chris Paul's not playing well at all. You look at Chris Paul in that Game 4, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 fouls. Chris Paul, the point guard, had more fouls than points in a critical playoff game. That is unacceptable. He was not having it all game long. He was not in his typical Chris Paul zone. And to make matters worse, if you haven't seen it by now, there was a big incident that happened after, or as this game was winding down, as this game was finishing off, between Chris Paul's mother and some fans. As this is the altercation of Chris Paul not being happy at what appears to be a minor fan with his mom, having to be escorted after an altercation happened between these two individuals and Chris Paul's mom. It was alleged that the fan did put his hands on Chris Paul's mom. So that is downright unacceptable. Charles Barkley went on to say that players should be able to put their hands on fans and take care of business in the center court. So there's a lot of adversity going on in Phoenix right now. You got Chris Paul who's rattled. You got Phoenix that just got punched in the mouth for 2 straight games. And you got a Dallas team. They are playing with a lot of confidence. And Luka Doncic is playing with role players who are actually buying into their role and who are playing some of their best basketball. So I'm not quick to announce Phoenix as this series winner. Now, you can expect them to respond going back to Phoenix because they have done that all season long. But where is their mental at? This was a team that might have gotten prematurely cocky when they were up 2-0. The press conference of Chris Paul and Devin Booker smiling when Luka Doncic's name was brought up. Well, now they're not smiling anymore. Now Luka's doing the smiling. And now the Phoenix Suns, the reigning Western Conference champs, might be facing the most adversity they faced in 3 years. And that is going up against a very capable Mavs team where their defense is playing well and their offense outside of Luka is starting to step up. And that's a dangerous sight. So all of a sudden we got a series there. Mavericks tying it up against the Suns. And another team that stepped up in the face of adversity. The Philadelphia 76ers. They tie up the series at 2 games apiece. Joel Embiid came back with a vengeance. Masked Embiid, he's different. He just re-energized, refueled this Sixers team. And quite frankly, Miami can't stop the size that is Joel Embiid. In particular, Bam Adebayo has had a handful of problems with the return of Embiid. And a guy who has stepped up now with Embiid back into the mix is James Harden. And James Harden must have listened to my rant because I literally laid it to him on Friday saying that the old Rockets James Harden needed to step up. And what happened? The old Rockets James Harden did step up. Game 4 especially. 30 plus points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 3-pointers made. He's the first player in Sixers playoff history to put up such a stat line. James Harden was on fuego. He was feeling it, and he had his best game of the series. And if James Harden plays like that, where he effortlessly puts up 30 plus points, the 76ers ain't going to lose another game this series. They're going to be ultra dangerous. But I give all the credit in the world to Joel Embiid. Because if Embiid does not come back, if he's not man enough, if he's not tough enough to deal with a fractured face, a torn thumb, and a concussion, and does not come back to the court for his teammates, the Sixers do not have a chance. But the fact that Embiid went through all the pain, all of his injuries, and still put his big old body out there, that to me is a winner personified. That to me is a guy who wants it. And you better believe his teammates respect the hell out of him for even showing up and playing in these games. And as a result, you saw everybody's game elevate, Harden in particular. Right now, the Miami Heat are in trouble, guys. This was a Heat team that had the Sixers right where they wanted them. And now, everybody is questioning if the Heat can even win another game. They do not look good. They have no answers for Embiid inside. The Sixers role players are hitting their shots. James Harden looks alive. And Miami can't hit a damn shot to save their life right now. The Heat are 14 of 65, shooting the ball 21.5% from the field. From 3 in their last 2 games. And Duncan Robinson has played a grand total of 1 minute this series. I really don't understand what Spoelstra's doing right now. I respect the hell out of Spoelstra. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA. But I really don't know why he's blacklisted Duncan Robinson from getting more minutes, especially when this Heat team can use some shooting. He has played 1 grand minute. Duncan Robinson is making good money. Why is he not getting more minutes in the series is beyond me. If we don't see Duncan Robinson in Game 5, I really don't know what to say at that point. And another reason why the Heat have not found anything offensively is their leader, quote-unquote leader. I know Jimmy Butler's been playing out of his mind, but someone needs to give this guy some damn help. And that somebody, it's going to have to be Kyle Lowry as one of those guys that needs to step up from Game 5 and throw. Kyle Lowry has been a disappearing act. He has struggled mightily in his last 4 games. 9 points on 2 of 8 shooting going back to the Hawks series. 6 points, 2 of 7 from shooting again in that Hawks series. He laid a goose egg, 0 of 4 shooting against Philly, and then 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting against Philly again. Philadelphia must be thanking the heavens that they did not sacrifice assets, that being Tyrese Maxey, to go get Kyle Lowry, who right now looks washed. He looks like a guy who's coming up on the end of his career. And the Raptors fan in me, it sucks to see, but at the same time, I'm happy I don't have to deal with the headache that is Kyle Lowry right now. Heat fans do. Kyle Lowry, his play has been unacceptable, and this is not who they thought Lowry was going to be for them when they did make the investment of going to get Kyle, because they knew Kyle was going to be the difference maker come playoff time. And right now, he has been a liability for their team. So, to me, the Miami Heat are in big trouble. I would say they're in bigger trouble than the Suns are, just because the Suns have gone down before in a series. They do have that resiliency. We see how quickly they can turn it up. But Miami has looked completely a shell of themselves in these last two games. And the addition of Embiid has really disrupted what they've been able to do. And their shooting, I don't trust at all. And right now, it's Jimmy versus everybody. And it would be some sweet revenge for those Sixers players. Especially Embiid, when Jimmy Butler called the Sixers out many years ago. If it's the Sixers that knock out Butler out of the playoffs, I would not bet money on the Heat right now. I really think this is the Sixers series to lose at this point. And that's saying something, because we all know it's very damn tough to come back when you're down 0-2 in a best-of-7 series in the NBA. But what's not going to be pleasant for Sixers fans is the fact that Nikola Jokic, not Joel Embiid, is to be named MVP. So this news actually dropped this morning. Sixers fans were on a high yesterday, and they're not going to be a high all day today. A lot of Sixers fans are pissed off. A lot of Sixers fans I know personally are pissed off, as Nikola Jokic will win his second straight MVP award, according to Woj, as Jokic is the 15th player to win multiple MVP awards and one of 4 active players to do so, along with LeBron, Curry, and most recently Giannis, who did it in 2018, 2019, and then 2019, 2020. My quick take to all of this is, I'm surprised. Now, I'm not going to say Embiid got robbed, because that would be doing a disservice to Nikola Jokic. Don't get me wrong. Jokic put up numbers that we have never seen before. He actually had a better season this season than his MVP campaign last season. But I am surprised, because I really thought they were going to factor in everything into making this MVP decision. And what I mean by this everything is perfectly summarized by this tweet by Melo Styles. NBA has made an egregious mistake. I wouldn't go as far as saying that, but he's onto something here. Embiid has kept the Sixers from imploding all season by himself. If that isn't most valuable player, I don't know what is. And this to me is bang on. This was the reason why I thought the NBA was going to give it to Embiid, because his numbers were neck and neck with Nikola Jokic. But then you take it a step further. Embiid impacted his team winning more, as the Sixers finished higher than the Nuggets did in the standings in the respective conferences. But Embiid kept this team together and composed while they were dealing with one of the biggest dramas that we have seen in the NBA in quite some time. And that was the drama of Ben Simmons. The uncertainty around the situation. The inevitable that he was going to get traded. Embiid never let his team slip. The Sixers never faltered. They stood strong throughout, and Embiid led the way. So that to me is an MVP. That's a guy who impacts winning. And isn't that what's supposed to be the MVP? Isn't that what the MVP is personified? The most valuable player? Embiid is value. That is value right there. He kept his team afloat. His team was winning as a result of his impactful play, his stellar play. So I would have given my vote to Embiid. I would have. I was surprised with this decision. But again, I won't go as far as calling it a robbery, because Nikola Jokic put up amazing stats. But I would have given it to Embiid, man. And if anything, Embiid now can use this as fuel and show people that he is, in fact, the MVP during this postseason. I mean, if I'm Embiid right now, I am ultra motivated to not only win this series, but try to win the damn title to show people you're really going to give the MVP to a dude who got ousted out of the first round. Now, I know it's not a postseason award, but Embiid can really use this to his advantage now because I'm just as surprised and shocked as some Sixers fans out there. I really thought this was Embiid's award this season, especially since Jokic won it last year. Okay, we are going to wrap up the news stories here. One more quick news story I want to get to. It's a big one. I don't know how much legs it has, but it's still worth mentioning. So this was a report from Ian Begley that the Toronto Raptors might be in play for Rudy Gobert if he's made available by the Utah Jazz, which was very interesting to me, as the Raptors are among the teams who would have a degree of interest in trading for Rudy Gobert. Now, my reaction to this is, it's a pipe dream. I think it's a long shot because a lot of things have to happen here. Number one, the Jazz have to make Gobert available, which is still a big if. I know there's been a lot of rumors, but it hasn't been said by them that they are openly shopping Gobert. And number two, Gobert's making a lot of money. The Raptors would have to get creative in trying to come up with a package that's enticing enough for the Jazz to bite at. And right now, I don't think the Raptors can do that. I mean, I don't think they would give up Siakam. Scotty Barnes is obviously untouchable. Would the Jazz really be okay with getting OG, Achua, and a bunch of other filler pieces? Probably not. Fred VanVleet's name could come up, but is that something that would move the needle for the Jazz? Probably not. So there's a lot of uncertainty here. There's a lot of good things that have to happen. And I just think there's too many obstacles the Raptors would have to go through to get this done. Another big factor is that a whole ton of teams are going to be interested in a Gobert and Mitchell if they're made available. So the competition, the market's going to be super competitive, super tough. So yeah, I don't think this is going to happen at all. Now, do the Raptors need a Gobert? Will they benefit significantly with a Gobert? Absolutely. I think it would be a perfect fit, especially to that front court. I mean, Gobert is one of the best defensive players in the league. He is super efficient. He rebounds at a high rate, one of the best rates in the NBA. That's what the Raptors need. They needed a big, especially in that first round series against Embiid. But I just think they got to go through a lot of loopholes, and a lot of good things have to happen for this to in fact happen. So I don't see it happening. Do I think the Jazz are going to trade either one of Gobert or Mitchell? I do. But I do not think the Raptors will make a big splash this offseason. I said it in my bit last week. I think the Raptors are going to go after some smaller pieces, some shooters, maybe a mid-center, a mid-market center, rather than try to hit a home run with a big name. But who knows? You never know on the side. This guy's ultra aggressive, and you never want to underestimate him because you just never know what kind of moves he has up his sleeve. So we'll see what happens there. There's going to be a lot of rumors this offseason, FYI. I mean, we're not even officially in the offseason, but these rumors are already starting to hit hard. All right, we are going to wrap up today's show with some picks tonight. We got a couple games in the NBA. We got a game in the NHL that I really like, and we're going to try to go 3-0 again, just like Friday. So the first game here, Celtics-Bucks. Give me the Celtics to tie up the series. I'm really surprised how this is 2-1 right now. I thought the Celtics had that game in Game 3. Poor execution late. They cannot hit a big bucket when they needed to. I do think the Celtics win the series still. I think they respond tonight. I think the Bucks, without Middleton, we've seen that they are not as scary. They are vulnerable. I know you got to pay some respect to Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a beast. As long as he's out there, the Bucks have a chance. But I do like the Celtics to respond here. Give me the Celtics +1. Grizzlies, Warriors. The spread is as big as it is. I think it's 10.5 now. The reason being, Ja Morant's not playing. And this is unfortunate. I mean, Ja Morant got injured in Game 3. They got blown out by 30. So odds makers think it's going to be similar to what happened in Game 3. I do think the Warriors win this game. I do think the Warriors win and cover. So I will go with the Warriors. I think they will take a stranglehold here. I think Memphis, for as good as their supporting cast is, this is a different animal in the playoffs. You need your best players. Ja's not there. The Warriors are going to make them play. And then in the lone NHL game I'm going to touch tonight, Flames taking on the Stars. The Flames right now, they are down 2-1. The Stars, 2 wins away from upsetting the Flames. A lot of people had the Flames getting to the Cup final. I mean, this was a big team to bet on in the Western Conference, and now they're facing some adversity. I won't say the Stars win tonight, but I like them to keep it close. So give me the Stars plus 1.5. This is a team, they're playing with a ton of confidence right now, a nothing to lose mentality, and I actually think the Stars do end up upsetting the Flames here in this first round. I feel it. Tonight, I could see the Flames tie up the series, but I do think it's close. Give me the Stars plus 1.5. So just to quickly recap here, my 3 picks, 3-team parlay for tonight. Give me the Celtics plus 1. Give me the Warriors minus 10.5. And give me the Stars plus 1.5 over the Flames. And just like that, that will conclude another great edition of Laying the Points with Luca Rosano. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, coming to you every single Monday through Friday, where I lay the points or take the points. I talk about some of the biggest storylines in sports and also look at sports betting as a whole and give you some of my best bets for every night that passes. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all again tomorrow. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.